The forbidden identity of the three wise men. They weren't kings. The hook. The 2,000-year-old case of mistaken identity. We see them on every Christmas card. Three majestic kings, wearing gold crowns, kneeling peacefully at a manger. We've even given them names: Casper, Melchior, and Balthazar. But what if I told you that almost everything you know about them is a fabrication? The Bible never calls them kings. It never says there were three of them. And most importantly, their true identity was so forbidden that later traditions had to rewrite their history to make it more acceptable. Who were these mysterious travelers, really? Why did their arrival send a king into a murderous panic? Today, we are stripping away the Sunday school myths to reveal the forbidden identity of the Magi. They weren't kings. They were something much more powerful and much more dangerous. The Magi, the occult masterminds. The original Greek text uses one specific word, Magi. In the ancient world, this didn't mean wise men. It referred to a very specific, elite class of people from the Parthian, Persian Empire. These men were the kingmakers of the East. They were a blend of astronomers, mathematicians, and, here's the forbidden part, sorcerers. They practiced magia, for which we get our word magic. These weren't just guys following a bright light. They were high-ranking priests of Zoroastrianism. They studied the stars because they believed the heavens were a cosmic clock that predicted the rise and fall of world empires. For a Roman-backed king like Herod, seeing a caravan of Persian magi arrive wasn't a cute visit. It was a diplomatic threat. It was like a foreign intelligence agency arriving to announce a coup. 3. The star revealed. It wasn't a star. How did they find a specific house in a tiny village? If you follow a star in the sky, it doesn't lead you to a door. It leads you in circles. NASA data and ancient Babylonian sky charts reveal that these magi weren't looking at a single shining dot. They were tracking a massive planetary alignment. In 6 BC, Jupiter, the planet of kings, and Saturn, the protector of the Jews, met in the constellation of Aries. To the Magi, this was a cosmic code. It told them, the great king is being born in the West. They didn't just see a light, they calculated the birth. This was high-level ancient data science that the rest of the world couldn't even comprehend. The gifts, more than just jewelry. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. We think of them as expensive gifts. But to the Magi, these were tools of the trade. Gold, symbolizing earthly royalty, yes. Frankincense, used by priests to communicate with the divine. Myrrh, used for embalming. A gift for a child that predicted his death. But here is the secret. These are the exact elements needed for a Zoroastrian ritual of recognition. By giving these gifts, the Magi weren't just being nice. They were officially signing off on a new world order. They were transferring the spiritual authority of the East to a child in the West. This is why tradition eventually turned them into kings, because the idea that pagan sorcerers were the first to recognize the Messiah was too controversial for the early church to handle. The escape, why they disappeared. The Bible says they were warned in a dream not to go back to Herod. But think about the logistics. Herod was a paranoid tyrant. He had spies everywhere. The Magi didn't just go home another way. They used their knowledge of ancient trade routes and secret desert passes to vanish. They defied the Roman Empire and slipped back into Persia, leaving Herod in such a rage that he ordered the infanticide of Bethlehem. The Magi were the first whistleblowers of the Christian story. They saw the corruption of the local government, protected the target, and disappeared into history, never to be seen again. The conclusion, the mystery remains. So no, they weren't three kings from the Orient. They were Persian masters of the occult, elite kingmakers who saw a change in the stars that no one else noticed. They remind us that sometimes the truth is found by those looking outside the traditional boundaries. They were the bridge between the ancient magic of the East and the new faith of the West. Now, I have a challenge for you one. If the three kings were actually pagan sorcerers, does that make the story more or less powerful to you? 2. Why do you think history tried so hard to hide their real identity? Drop your theories in the comments. I'll be down there replying to the most enlightened ones. Smash that like button if you love seeing history debunked. Subscribe and hit the bell. We're diving into the forbidden gospel of Mary Magdalene in our next episode. Keep looking at the stars and stay curious. I'll see you in the next one.